The quiet tragedy of growing up and how to rebuild an iron mind. There is a quiet moment in life that many people never notice when it first arrives. Nothing dramatic happens. No loud signal warns you. But suddenly, the things that once made your heart race with excitement begin to lose their color. The games you loved as a child feel distant. The curiosity that once made you ask endless questions slowly fades. The dreams that once seemed larger than the sky begin to shrink under the weight of reality. Growing up often feels like gaining the world while quietly losing a part of yourself. When we are young, life feels endless. Time moves slowly. The world feels like a playground waiting to be explored. You wake up with energy, imagination, and a strange kind of courage that adults often forget they once had. A child can spend hours building something small and meaningless in the eyes of the world, yet feel as though they are creating something extraordinary. That sense of wonder is not foolishness. It is a kind of wisdom that many people lose as they age. As the years pass, responsibilities begin to appear. School becomes serious. Expectations grow heavier. The world begins to whisper subtle messages about what matters and what does not. Slowly, without realizing it, people begin to trade curiosity for practicality. The mind that once explored freely becomes trained to worry about approval, success, and survival. This transformation is so common that most people assume it is simply part of life. They believe that losing excitement is the natural price of becoming an adult. Yet if you look closely, you will notice something strange. Not everyone loses that spark. Some people grow older without losing the fire inside their minds. They face hardship, responsibility, and disappointment just like everyone else. Yet they remain curious, resilient, and alive in a way that others are not. What makes the difference between these two kinds of people? The answer lies in the way they shape their minds. The ancient philosopher Marcus Aurelius once wrote that the quality of our life depends largely on the quality of our thoughts. Though he ruled one of the most powerful empires in history, he spent much of his time reflecting on how fragile the human mind can be. He understood something that many people overlook. The world does not break our spirit nearly as often as our own thoughts do. As children, we rarely judge ourselves harshly. We try things freely. We fail without shame. We explore without fear of looking foolish. But as we grow older, our minds become crowded with doubts. We begin to measure ourselves constantly. We compare our progress to others. We worry about falling behind. And slowly, this constant pressure begins to drain the joy out of life. Think about the hobbies you once loved. Perhaps you enjoyed drawing, writing stories, building things, playing music, or exploring ideas simply for the joy of discovery. Many people abandon these passions not because they truly stopped caring, but because their minds became filled with unnecessary pressure. They begin to believe that if they cannot be the best at something, it is no longer worth doing. But that belief is one of the greatest traps of adulthood. Another philosopher, Epictetus, once taught that the most powerful freedom a person can achieve is freedom from unnecessary expectations. He believed that people suffer not because of events themselves, but because of the judgments they attach to those events. When you were a child, you created things simply because you enjoyed the act of creating. There was no audience to impress. There was no scoreboard to check. The activity itself was enough. That mindset allowed joy to exist naturally. Adulthood, however, introduces a dangerous habit. We begin to ask ourselves questions that slowly poison our enthusiasm. Is this useful? Is this productive? Will this make me successful? Will others respect me for doing this? At first, these questions seem practical, but over time they begin to replace curiosity with calculation. This is the quiet tragedy of growing up. We do not lose our passions because life demands it. We lose them because we slowly train our minds to ignore them. Yet the story does not end there. Within every person still exists the ability to rebuild the mindset they once had, not by becoming childish again, but by developing something stronger and more deliberate. A mindset that blends the wonder of youth with the discipline of adulthood. This is what we call an iron mind. An iron mind is not simply a mind that endures hardship. It is a mind that refuses to let the world dull its curiosity. It is a mind that continues to learn, explore, and create even when life becomes complicated. It understands responsibility, but does not allow responsibility to suffocate the spirit. The philosopher Seneca once warned that most people waste their lives not because they lack time, but because they allow their attention to scatter across trivial concerns. They become so busy surviving that they forget to truly live. Look around today and you will see evidence of this everywhere. People scroll endlessly through distractions, searching for stimulation but rarely experiencing genuine excitement. They feel tired even when they have done very little. Their minds are full, yet strangely empty. This happens because modern life constantly competes for your attention. Every notification, advertisement, and comparison quietly trains your mind to seek quick bursts of satisfaction rather than meaningful engagement. But the iron mind resists this drift. It recognizes that attention is one of the most valuable resources a person possesses. Where your attention goes, your life follows. If your attention becomes scattered, your sense of purpose will also become scattered. But if your attention is focused and intentional, your life begins to regain direction. Rebuilding that focus begins with something surprisingly simple. Return to small acts of curiosity. Pick up the interests you once abandoned. Not because they will make you famous or successful, but because they remind your mind how to explore again. Write even if no one reads your words. Draw even if your sketches are imperfect. Study ideas that fascinate you even if they seem unrelated to your career. These small acts awaken a part of your mind that may have been dormant for years. At first, the feeling might seem strange. You might feel awkward or impatient. That is normal. Your mind has been trained for efficiency, not exploration. It has learned to prioritize outcomes over experiences. But if you continue practicing curiosity, something remarkable begins to happen. The spark slowly returns. You begin to notice details again. Conversations feel richer. Ideas become more interesting. Time spent creating feels meaningful rather than wasteful. The world regains a little of the mystery it once had when you were younger. This transformation does not happen overnight. Iron is not forged in a single strike. It becomes strong through repeated pressure and heat. Your mind develops strength the same way. Discipline is another essential part of rebuilding the iron mind. Curiosity alone is powerful, but without discipline it fades quickly. Discipline gives your passions structure. It protects them from being drowned out by distractions. Discipline does not mean forcing yourself to suffer endlessly. It simply means honoring the commitments you make to yourself. When you promise to learn something, you follow through. When you promise to create something, you give it your attention. Every small act of discipline strengthens the structure of your mind. Gradually, something begins to change in the way you experience life. Instead of feeling trapped by responsibilities, you begin to see them as opportunities to practice strength. Instead of feeling drained by challenges, you begin to view them as training for your character. This shift in perspective is one of the most powerful abilities the iron mind possesses. Life will never become perfectly smooth. Difficulties will continue to appear. But when your mind becomes resilient, those difficulties lose their power to crush your spirit. You begin to move through the world with a quiet kind of confidence. Not arrogance, but steadiness. The kind of calm strength that does not depend on circumstances. And perhaps most importantly, you begin to rediscover something that many adults forget. Joy does not disappear when you grow older. It simply waits for you to reclaim it. If you have felt your passions fading, if you have felt that growing up has slowly drained the excitement from life, remember this: nothing important has truly been lost. Your curiosity is still within you. Your creativity is still within you. Your ability to feel wonder is still there, waiting to be awakened again. All it requires is a decision to rebuild the strength of your mind. That is the purpose of Iron Mind. If you want to continue strengthening your mindset, learning how to face life with resilience, discipline, and clarity, make sure to subscribe to the Iron Mind channel. Each video is designed to help you sharpen your thinking, rebuild your focus, and develop a mind that remains steady no matter what life brings. Because in a world full of noise, distraction, and uncertainty, the greatest advantage you can possess is a mind that cannot easily be shaken. An iron mind.